Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out. And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
The WNBA is in freefall, not just a dip, not a stumble, a full-on brutal collapse. And it all circles back to one undeniable truth. They failed to protect Caitlin Clark.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
The very player who pulled them out of irrelevance, the one who sold out arenas, crushed TV ratings, and generated millions in revenue, single-handedly. And now, with Clark sidelined once again, the league is learning a painful, expensive lesson. And the worst part, it was completely preventable. When Caitlin Clark went down with a quad injury in May, it sent shockwaves. But now, with a groin injury keeping her out indefinitely, those tremors have turned into a financial earthquake. Ratings are tanking, ticket sales are crumbling, fan trust shattered. Without Clark, WNBA viewership has plummeted by 55%. Indiana Fever games alone have seen a drop of 53%, falling from 1.81 million viewers with Clark to just 847,000 without her. That's not a dip, that's a nosedive, a crash that was written on the wall for months. And yet the league did nothing.
Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%.
Yikes.
Across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
Yeah,
They had a star, no, a phenomenon, doing everything right. Clark was humble, focused, a team player who never made it about herself. She gave the WNBA its biggest spotlight in history. And in return, they left her exposed, targeted, attacked, mocked. Opponents hit her with cheap shots. Social media turned every foul into a debate. Teammates laughed when she was knocked down. And the league, it just watched, lectured the fans, called it part of the game.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her.
All while their billion-dollar brand was quietly bleeding out. Let's talk numbers. Ticket prices for Fever games have dropped by 71%. Some seats that once sold for $86 now go for $25. The average price fell from $137 to $80 during Clark's absence. Road games that were moved to bigger arenas to meet demand are now struggling to fill half the seats.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. with the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Even the Fever vs. Sky rematch, a game that once pulled in 2.25 million viewers, has collapsed. Tickets dropped from $210 to $95. Without Clark, even the most hyped games feel empty, forgotten, irrelevant. This isn't just a player missing time. This is the WNBA's entire business model unraveling. Veteran journalist Christine Brennan, who's writing a book titled Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, didn't hold back.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on.
The league is failing to meet the moment, she said. People are watching like never before, and this is what they see? Her words sting because they're true. 5 of the 30 flagrant fouls in 2024 were against Clark. That's 1 in 6, and the Chicago Sky delivered 80% of them. When Clark pushes back, she's too aggressive. When she doesn't, she's too soft. It's a lose-lose that only she has to play, and the WNBA just keeps letting it happen. The league was projected to lose $50 million this year, despite Clark's meteoric rise. Now, without her on the floor, that number is ballooning fast. Merch sales are stalling, TV deals are losing value, and attendance, we're back to pre-Clark numbers. Empty seats, empty hype.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
Thing I admire about Caitlin, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players. You don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I haven't seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
And empty promises. Clark came in at 22 years old, deflecting fame, giving credit to her team, and shouldering the weight of a broken league without complaint. She gave them the spark. The WNBA just needed to guard the flame. But instead of celebrating her, they let politics and jealousy poison the moment. And now, sponsors who invested millions based on her momentum are starting to pull back. Why stay in a sinking ship when the captain refuses to patch the holes? Let's be honest, this league is confused. It wants to be taken seriously like the NBA, but acts like a high school drama club chasing TikTok attention. You can't have it both ways. Real professional leagues protect their stars. They maintain integrity. They punish the dirty fouls and protect the product. Imagine if LeBron James got slammed with elbows every night without consequence. The NBA would issue suspensions before the buzzer even sounded. But the WNBA, it shrugs, says it's just basketball, says let them play. Even while their most valuable player limps off the court. Fans have had enough. They're not just tuning out, they're speaking out. They're saying they won't watch a game unless Clark is playing. Not because they don't love the game, but because they don't trust what they're seeing anymore. And that's not a fandom problem, that's a credibility crisis. What's most infuriating is how often this could have been fixed. Every hard foul, every missed call, every smug press conference. Each one was a chance for the league to wake up, set the standard, and protect its future. Instead, they chose denial over and over again.
the cleanup. I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on. She getting blindsided by Marina Mabrey. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
The way they play the game, because I love the WNBA. I love the way they play the game. But we really watching because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She going for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
Clark's injury should have been a turning point. Instead, it became a warning shot. And the data is screaming the truth. A 55% drop in viewership, that's not subtle. That's a 5-alarm fire. But the WNBA keeps responding with a garden hose, talking about competitive balance and letting the players play, as if allowing physical targeting somehow builds credibility. It doesn't. It builds resentment. It tells your audience that loyalty gets punished, that talent gets mistreated, and that stars get sacrificed for clicks. And that's not just bad business, it's betrayal. So what now? The fix isn't complicated, but it requires courage. The WNBA must decide what it wants to be.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. Thousands of kids.
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they
Caitlin
wearing?
Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
wherever she played? It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just it was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it wasn't what we were. It wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled.
Right.
And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
A serious, respected professional league or a drama factory surviving off manufactured outrage? If it's the former, then they need to enforce real player protection, shut down the dirty plays, treat fouls with consistency, recognize the actual value of their stars, because until that happens, this house of cards will keep falling, and when the dust settles, the fans won't be the only ones gone, so will the sponsors, the media, and the momentum. Without Clark, the league averages just 555,000 viewers, down from 670,000 last year. That's a hard snap back to reality. Empty arenas, games no one outside diehard fans cares to watch. And the real tragedy? It didn't have to be this way. The WNBA had everything it needed. A once-in-a-generation star, a media frenzy, a fan base ready to rally, and instead of building a fortress around her, they left her exposed. Now, they're paying the price, and unless they finally learn how to protect their golden goose, they'll keep learning the same painful lesson over and over, until there's nothing left to protect at all.